PHNX Suns post-game show. Shout out to our friends at OG's Brands, the official sponsor of Flavoring Fridays. Make sure you head on over to ogsbrands.com to see their full lineup, including their two newest gummies, the OG's Naturals and the Big OGs, and find out where you can purchase. The Suns took down the Timberwolves 97-87, and y'all know what that means, right?
Sexy sacks?
It means we get sexy
Espo,
sacks.
don't bust your ACL.
Hey,
Come here.
Oh my God.
what's happening?
There we go.
What's happening?
We got to do the handshake.
Why is he gotta make
Come
that
on.
face?
What, Espo?
Yeah, but he's just like he does this thing with his lips.
It's my You know what that look like? That look like
Is it where you use it a frown?
Yeah, it's like
That's
his.
the millennial mean mug when we're dancing.
You know what that
that's
look
a
like?
thing.
That look like my man Ben Stiller from Along Came Polly when he was doing you ain't see that? You ain't see that?
I saw it. I just don't
Yeah, I
want to
don't
be
remember
compared
that.
to
The
it.
face. The face. Yeah, the face.
No, I don't remember that one.
Oh my God.
When he was in the salsa club getting busy.
Well, Flex, congratulations. You don't have to go back to Jersey because the Suns won, which
Yes.
means
There
you
we
can
go.
stay and
Because
hang
Saul
out with us.
Saul had the ticket booked already. He
You
was
better
ready.
did,
thank
man. I
them
did. I know.
boys for
Southwest
taking care of
Flight
business
455.
tonight.
Tomorrow morning, 8
We were
a.m.
ready to ship you
Flight
back.
504 to
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Hell yeah.
All right,
man.
well, that's Flex. I'm Lindsay. That's Saul. That's Espo. Gerald will be joining us later from the Footprint Center. But guys, 97-87 win for the Phoenix Suns tonight over the Timberwolves. I want to start with that first quarter because I feel like that was the quarter that really set the stage for this win for the Suns. They started the game on a 15-0 run and built a huge lead early on that I think helped sustain them through some of the lulls in this game.
Yeah, the sustainability was there all game. I mean, Timberwolves were never in it.
Never in it.
Point blank. And
Dominant.
that's because of one specific thing. The defense was absolutely locked in all night. It was beautiful to see. It was one of the rare times this season where you saw this team absolutely connected. 41 points at the half.
Yep.
They only give up 87 for the game, right? And it's just a phenomenal performance on that side of the ball. I was really, really impressed with their connectivity.
Yeah, and that 87 was a season low for points allowed by the Suns and points scored by the Timberwolves in any game this season as well.
Yeah, and that first quarter they attacked the bucket. 8 of their 11 field goals were in the paint. That was, a key. They were aggressive early, and they really took it to Minnesota. It was, they set the tone. They made it very clear that you're in our house. We don't care who you are or where you are in the West standings. We're going to take it right at you. And it was enough. I mean, they built that lead, and then the defense, like you guys said, carried it on from there. And it was this was probably the most unique win of the year. I'll put it as unique because the offense wasn't what you would expect, but the defense just locked them down.
Yeah, a connected team is a dangerous team, right? They're connected. Physically, mentally, emotionally, they're connected right now. The last 10, this stretch of 10, they're now 4-1 in that stretch. This was a dominant win. This game was never close. The final score is deceiving. We cleared the bench at the 4-minute mark, 3.5-minute mark.
Yep.
This was a dominant win, top to bottom. If you didn't know basketball and you're just a casual that just watches basketball every now and then, you wouldn't know who the best defensive team in the league is. It's actually Minnesota, but the Suns put the clamps on them all damn night. They took what the defense gave them. They didn't shoot the three ball much, but they didn't need to. And they almost got 30 assists tonight, 29. So as they move the ball, as they stay connected defensively, man, this team looking dangerous, guys.
If you're a team and you're trying to beat the Phoenix Suns and you don't jack up 30 to 40 threes, you have no chance to beat the Phoenix Suns. I will say that. If you're trying to out mid-range the Phoenix Suns, you're not going to win. Point blank, the Minnesota Timberwolves tried to do that tonight. They were not effective. They were not good at all. They're not good enough to beat the Phoenix Suns. Point blank. I said that for the last 3 straight days. I said we would dog walk them. We fucking dog walked them. I knew that was going to happen. This doesn't mean shit to me, to be honest with you. Beating Minnesota is cool, but I expected that. I really did expect this. I want to see what happens after Sunday, because I feel like we're going to take care of business this Sunday, and then we're going to basically cement a top 6 seed after that. And then everything changes.
Well, you
changes.
You make a great point. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but you got the Pelicans, who you just dog walked the other day. Now we're in our house. Zion may not play that basketball game. You're going to be 2 games up. If you win that game, you're up 2 games in the loss column, and you got the tiebreaker, so it's really 3. The Kings are falling off the face of the earth. You're 2.5 away from the Clippers, who you play twice. And so this gauntlet that everybody was worried about is a blessing in disguise. They're playing their best basketball. They got everything right in front of them. I want to ask you something, Saul, because you made a great point there. The 3-point shooting, are we starting to see the identity that the Phoenix Suns are realizing? If we can run you off the 3-point line, life is hard for you. If the Suns can run teams off the 3-point line, if that's the mentality going into the playoffs, hey, we done figured it out continuity-wise, we're feeling better offensively, we're going to run everyone off the 3-point line and see if you can out-mid-range the best boys in the business.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, I mean, it happens to the best teams. If you don't want them to jack up threes, they did it to the Warriors back in the day.
Correct.
They tried to run them off the 3-point line, but they had tremendous players that they were able to overcome it. Well, guess what? The Suns they've been run off the 3-point line a lot. These guys are kind of conditioned, Booker's conditioned, and KD conditioned to exploit the mid-range, but they've had to extend. And teams have basically tried to shut them down from the outside, especially Grayson Allen. Well, use that medicine on other teams.
Do the same thing,
For real. If you do that, they're not going to beat you. Suns, if the Suns keep teams off the 3-point line, they are one of the best teams in the league. It's just they've had big trouble doing that this season. Tonight was not that case.
Flex, I just got to give Flex credit, though, because he's been sitting here telling us there's a switch to be flipped, there's adjustments that could be made, that they may be waiting until later in the season to happen. We saw it with KD's the way tonight. KD's rotation minutes worked tonight. You've sat here and said it, and we've scoffed, but I think you're starting to see they may have flipped that switch. You said it 4-1 in the 5 to start this 10 that we thought was going to be a gauntlet. People are saying toughest final 10 games in 30 years that we've seen, and this team's answered the bell.
And a couple people in the chat are bringing up that exact same thing. I don't remember who it was, but somebody earlier in the show was like, I think we all owe Flex an apology.
I mean,
collectively, Flex.
Listen, I will say this. I will say this, man.
Good.
I will say this. It's a little too early to give Flex some love. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
you were right about this, though. You had optimism about this team and that they could flip a switch. I just didn't believe it. I didn't believe, based on everything else this season, I just didn't believe that they had it in them to flip a switch. But something has connected somehow, some way with this team defensively, especially. Defensively, this is where we got a point. Yeah, Booker can get 52 one night and 40 the other night, and KD can get you 30-plus and back-to-back nights and all that. That's all beautiful.
Right.
That's something we kind of expect, though.
Yes.
The defense was always the thing that was the separator between the Suns and a legit contender. And if they put that together, they would have a chance. Right now, they're playing elite level defense. If they keep that up, they're going to be right there. They've still got a long way to go. Matchups are everything, especially when you get to the playoffs. And we can talk about that later in terms of like who we would like to see and who we wouldn't like to see. But you got to feel good right now if you're the Phoenix Suns.
Can I ask this, though? And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just seriously wondering it in terms of Minnesota. Without Karl Anthony Towns, this team is immensely one-dimensional offensively, right? Because it comes down to Ant-Man, right? Anthony Edwards. He puts up 19 shots, only makes 6 of them. Like, I get that they played good defense there. I feel like this is a really good matchup because they aren't three-point shooters naturally. They are one-dimensional right now offensively. I feel like that's part of what we saw tonight was they're extremely flawed too. And that's not to discredit the Suns, because they did exactly what they needed to. Earlier in the year, this is the kind of game that all of a sudden everybody in Minnesota, not even on the roster, becomes a three-point shooter, right?
Yes.
And tonight they took care of it. But I feel like this is a little one-dimensional without Cat.
I just want to point something out, okay? He said that Karl Anthony Towns is a difference maker, and I'm not disputing that point. But we played them earlier this year.
Yeah, and dog.
Cat had 25. Anthony Edwards still 4 for 16, 1 for 3, only 13 points.
How many points did they score though as a team?
They scored 115.
Okay.
They scored high, but that was earlier.
Yeah,
Everybody was scoring high, right?
But that's
Everybody
my whole
was scoring
point,
high.
is that without Karl Anthony Towns' points, they're more one-dimensional.
But that's one team. I'm saying that they're locking in on other teams as well. They played. Their defense has increased. It has increased, and it has been better.
Yeah.
But also, to your point, Espo, while I agree with you, the Timberwolves have still been able to manage to win games and play
Agreed.
high-level basketball without
Agreed.
Karl.
Where they scored 133 the other night.
Yeah.
But
So you do have a point, but at the same time, I just there's a balance as far as like, do you give more credit to the Suns versus what are the Timberwolves able to do without Cat?
I think what you point out, I think this is a good matchup against this team, regardless of if you have Cat
Yeah.
or not. I think that's definitely the case with this group. And when I look at it, that's the team, if I'm going to have to face one of the top three, that I go,
I would prefer.
I'd have no problem with going against Minnesota, because they fit what we do.
You make a great point, and it's true. They're one-dimensional right now. Without Karl, they're severely one-dimensional. And you know what they're doing? Teams are starting to do what they did to the old Phoenix Suns with Devin Booker. They would send the house, blitz, take them out of the game, and dare those other guys to be guys that they aren't. Yeah. That's what they're doing in Minnesota. The problem I've had with Minnesota all year is that what's made them good is being number one in defense. They're giving up 106 a game. The problem in this new NBA is that that's a cute thing in the regular season. But in the playoffs, you got to score buckets. You got to get buckets in this new NBA. And that's been their flaw all year. I look at them and I'm like, is that defense going to be good enough? Can you rely on that defense to hold some of the best teams in the league? Not the bottom dwellers, but all playoff teams are good. Can you hold those guys to 106? Yeah. I don't think so.
And what makes me feel good about this is you win in a slog, a dogfight. Like, this was not pretty basketball in the second half. You had two teams shoot sub 40% in the second half, but the Suns held serve. They did what they needed to. It really was a 20-point win, and I like that, because the playoffs will slow like this.
Yes.
The playoffs will become a slog at times, and you're going to have to win ugly, and they won ugly today.
I thought they played a little sloppy on offense in the second half. In that third quarter, like you said, 8 turnovers in the third quarter.
That was
ugly.
that
was bad. That was not focused basketball at all.
No.
But I do feel good when they were locked in. They played high-level defense, and that defense, they'll tell you all day long, since you're like 2 years old all the way till you're 40. The one thing that always travels well is defense.
Yep.
And so if you can bring it, good for you.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's why tonight we're going to give our big, bright, shiny star to
defense.
The defense.
The defense.
That's right. The Suns locked up Minnesota tonight, and they got rewarded with a W for it. So congratulations to the entire squad. If you haven't received a big, bright, shiny star award tonight is your night, because this is a full squad effort. Hey,
yeah,
look at
I like
you guys
that.
go.
Well earned. Defense.
They earned their win. We all did not earn a win tonight on the BetMGM Sportsbook app. We all took L's tonight, which means the leaderboard is looking a little bit lighter. So we've got Flex with minus 117.51, Saul minus 21.24. I have $64.23, and Espo, you are almost under $500. You only have $503.50. You better watch out.
Keep celebrating me almost under $500.
You better watch out, Espo, because we are coming for you. But hopefully we will all have better luck either tomorrow or Sunday, depending on what we decide to put our money on this weekend when it comes to sports. But when you want to gamble on sports, make sure you do it with our friends over at the BetMGM Sportsbook app. You can sign up for BetMGM using the bonus code PHNX. All you got to do after you use that code is place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app of at least $10. and you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Bonus bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Get stuffed, Ontario. And you know what, Puerto Rico, we got to apologize for flex again. But we're sorry for it. You know, there's some big-time basketball being played in the Valley this weekend out at a football stadium. But you know what? If you want to go see some championship-level hoops, you can through our friends at Game Time. I'm looking right now, and you can get into tomorrow's game for $344. It was over $1,000 earlier in the week, right? Monday, you can get in for as low as $148 to see a title game in college hoops. It's great, and that's what's the great thing about Game Time. You can wait, and you're going to get better deals on tickets the longer you wait. I know a couple of people at our office that are going to Monday's game. Got a smoking deal thanks to our friends at Game Time. I love it. I've used it for concert tickets. I've used it to get into sporting events here. I've used it for out-of-state events. Went up to Vegas for some stuff. I'm sure we'll do that for Summer League. I mean, it's fantastic. So make sure that you use Game Time, especially if you're looking at baseball tickets, because they're now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on Game Time app, like I said, actually go down as you get closer to first pitch. So with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Highly recommend it. Use it today. And I got a deal for you, just for you. If you download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code PHNX, you're going to save $20. You can get $20 off your first purchase. So you want to go to that title game, it's going to be $128 to get in to see that. It's just that simple. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union named by Forbes.
Yeah, so we get a 97-87 victory. Suns shoot 43%. Timber held them to 38%. Timberwolves only shot 38%. That goes back to the defense. Turnovers were a little sloppy for both teams. Suns had 18. Timberwolves had 19. The assist number is what I love. Anytime the Suns are close to 30, they play well. They're damn near unbeatable. They got 29 tonight to their 23. And then on the glass, surprisingly, it was only a 5. It felt like more, but the Suns out-rebounded the Timberwolves by 5, 49-44. And that's how you get a 97-87 dog walk. That's what you call it?
Dog walk.
Dog
They got dog walk.
They got dog walk.
Honestly,
I like that.
the turnovers wouldn't have even been that bad if you just removed the third quarter.
Yeah.
So they had 8 at halftime, and then they finished with 18, and they had 8 in that third quarter. So, like,
Yeah, right.
10, if you take out the third quarter, I wouldn't even be that mad
I mean,
about.
if you take out all the losses,
But
we're undefeated.
that third quarter was brutal, though.
But it was
I'm
for
just saying,
both
it was rough.
teams.
That
Yeah.
third quarter sucked
Yeah,
as a whole.
It was bad basketball.
It was
was ugly.
bad.
It was ugly. I mean,
It was.
But I do, to your point, even though in a bad game, bad shooting game, they still moved the basketball. They got a lot of good looks. They missed some really good looks too.
Yeah.
So that's still encouraging. That's been one of the keys that we've seen over this stretch is they've been passing the rock well. It continued tonight, and that's why they were able to score even though they only shot 43%. They got good looks that they could make it.
They had 29 assists on 33 made field goals.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Not too shabby.
Solid.
What happened to the
That's
other 4 is
fantastic.
what I want to know.
Not too shabby. And that was throughout the entire game, right? At halftime, they had 18 assists on 21 made field
Wow.
goals. So that was consistent
So
throughout
they-
the entire
so
game.
They assisted on every basket except one in the second half.
Yep.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Good
So,
point, Lance.
I like the assist numbers tonight. I like the way they were moving the ball around, even though the turnovers were a little bit higher at the end of the game than we would have liked. They still took care of business. And one thing that I did also, like, we point to that third quarter, like just bad basketball all around. I think we could all do without ever remembering a single moment from that third quarter. But the one positive is that the Timberwolves tried, you know what I mean, to muck up this game a little bit for the Suns. And the Suns did struggle at a certain point in time, especially shooting, but they were able to they were able to just stay controlled. And that lead that they built early on in the game kind of helped sustain them as well. And I think not get in their heads about it either.
Yeah, no, I thought, again, they were very efficient. They maintained is what they did. They maintained in that third quarter, even if it was ugly. If obviously if the Timberwolves went on a bigger run, then maybe some adjustments would have been made. But there was no need to, because there wasn't any run happening, and you can just kind of stay the course.
Yeah.
And that was the luxury of having such a big lead. And I think when you get into the playoffs, you were going to find yourself in situations like that where things are just not clicking. But if you can hold the other team scoreless, or keep the damage minimal, then you can live with it and you can move on and keep your guys in the consistent rotation like they did tonight.
I think we should stop focusing on the Suns' turnover number and look at the turnover differential. Because in a night like tonight, sure, they had 18, but Timberwolves at 19, you're +1, right?
That's right, yeah.
I think that's going to be a big indicator, because if your defense can continue to force a high number of turnovers, you can live with some mistakes that you make, especially like that third quarter, because you were forcing them at that time too.
I'd like to see how many times this season a team had more turnovers than the Suns.
That's a good point. I like to look at that too.
I'm gonna look at that
probably
right now.
not a lot.
That's
I would
interesting.
guess.
Yeah, I don't think it's more than like 5. Maybe.
I would be shocked if it was a lot.
And you look at that third quarter, for as bad as it was, I mean, it's a 20-20 quarter.
Yeah.
So you didn't lose any ground at all.
Right.
The defense, again, they hung their hat on their defense tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like what Frank did to start the fourth quarter. It's a little different than we've seen. KD normally comes out to start the fourth. Today, I think he's kind of riding the momentum. He's saying, I want Book and KD together now. These guys are cooking. So he trusted Brad Beal in that lineup to kind of weather the storm and start the fourth, and they did just fine. So you're starting to see little bits of adjustments along with confidence that if they continue to do that, man, they're going to be dangerous.
I feel like it should be one of those things where you give your players X amount of time no matter what, right? And then you get to a certain point, and they're like, okay, you guys all know, like, hey, you're all going to get the first half as consistently as we've been doing it.
Yeah.
But when we get to the second half, I might switch some shit up.
I like that.
And I'm going to go with the hot hand more than I did. And tonight, Bradley Beal was feeling pretty good. He was scoring. In the second half, he kind of lost the scoring touch a little bit. But in that first half, he had bounce. He was playing very well. He was hitting his shots, hitting his floaters.
Rebounding.
He was rebounding. He played really good. It was surprising that he didn't have any assists in the first half either.
It's crazy.
That was crazy, because he's been looked at as the point guard.
Yeah.
But tonight, again, I think everybody else was so good at facilitating. And I do want to point this out about Bradley Beal. I don't know why he finds himself in this position, but he's really good at the hockey assist.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
He
Hockey
probably
assist.
had 15 of those tonight, it felt like.
That's what I'm saying.
He got
always
here.
one pass
You're
away,
right.
but that one pass helps get it to the guy that's going to score.
When are they
That's
going to count that?
I'm just going to say, you brought up let's replace plus minus on the box score. Let's
Hockey
replace it
assist.
with the hockey assist.
It
love
needs
it.
to.
Go.
Why
I
not?
love it.
I'm sure they track that internally through some of their
They,
stat trackers.
they do, but I think it needs to be a legit stat.
Agreed.
I think it needs to translate into because you're seeing it. Brad, I'm going to go look at the tape. I swear to you, Saul, I'm glad you said that. He must have had 10 to 15, it felt like tonight.
Yeah.
So it's not an assist in the books, but it actually set the play that made the play.
You guys talked about third quarter being 20-20, right? Finishing scoring-wise. That's what the Timberwolves having 9 more shots than the Suns in that quarter. That's insane. The Suns shot 24% in that quarter, but they held the Timberwolves to 31 on 8 of 26 shooting.
That's pretty good.
Gracious. Yeah, that has not been great. Well, there are some of the numbers from tonight's game. Again, presented by our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. And right now, Desert Financial Credit Union wants to hook you up with $200 in bonuses when you open a free checking account online. For more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. You can look to Desert Financial for checking accounts, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. Make sure you are joining a credit union that is committed to giving back to the community and sharing success with its members just like our friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union. And again, when you open a free checking account online, you can get $200 in bonuses right now. So get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
Flex, I usually stop at Circle K when my gas tank's low, right? But today I was leaving the studio in downtown Phoenix before we headed out here, and I said, you know what? My personal tank is low. Ooh. I'm dragging, right? It's 3 in the afternoon. I need a pick-me-up. And, you know, I went to Circle K for that, too.
What you get?
I'm not going to divulge that information. That's a personal question, and I don't feel comfortable sharing that. But I need some caffeine, right? So I went to Circle K. They have one of the best selections that I have ever seen in that category. And I used my Inner Circle membership, and I got 2 for $3.
Nice.
What I got drink-wise. And it was a great little perk, you know. Usually it was 2 for $4. I have for 2 for $3. And it's not just that, though. If your car does need to be filled up, you can sign up. Your first 5 fill-ups, 25 cents off per gallon. Then you're going to get 3 cents after that. And then when you reach the Espo level, 5 cents, all right? That's premier service. That's premier gas savings right there for you. So sign up today. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
All right, gentlemen, we do have a couple super chats here. Travis L. sent us one. Thank you, Travis. They said that felt like the most complete game of the season. What do you think? Yes, no, maybe?
Defensively, yes.
You know what's funny? I'm hearing that more and more lately. Pelicans game was very good. This game was very good. The Denver game was very good. And so I don't know if it was the most complete game, but I'm starting to see a pattern of people thinking it was the most complete game, and that's a good sign. So it was a good game defensively. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about both sides of the coin of this final 10-game stretch for the Suns being a very tough schedule for them, and how you could look at it and you could go one of two ways. You could either crumble, or this could be the quote-unquote playoffs before the playoffs. And Frank Vogel talked about it again today, that this has been one of the better situations for them because iron sharpens iron, right? As you're trying to gear up for playoff basketball, you want to be playing tough competition that helps you get ready for that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they've been doing, and they've stepped up big time in this moment.
I mean,
these moments.
That is what Flex has been saying this whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'll give him credit for that. He's been saying that. I don't know if he said it on air, but I know he certainly has said it behind the scenes. Hey, when they play the tougher teams, they will step up their game. They have done just that. And you just kind of wish that they were stepping up their game against the shitty teams, which is just even more frustrating. But give them credit. They're stepping up at just the right time. I'd rather be them than the Bucks right now.
You ain't lying.
Because the Bucks are struggling.
You ain't lying.
And we don't have to listen to Doc Rivers, so that's always one.
Hey, what's that saying? What? You stupid.
I'm not going to stand for that, Espo, okay?
Does that make your voice hurt when you do it? Because I feel like it would hurt. No?
He's not going to win.
Hey, that's pretty good, dog. That's pretty good, dog. That's pretty damn good.
I feel like you and I need to figure out our voice.
you need
These
voices.
two have one. We need
He's
one.
got the Cookie Monster. I'm Doc Rivers.
Yeah, we gotta
I don't know. We're gonna have to
we
figure
gotta
this
figure it
one
out.
out.
Hey, what do they say though? Pressure make diamonds or bust pipes.
Yeah.
Right? That's where we are in this last 10 games. They were either gonna bust a pipe and fall into the play-in, or they were gonna make a diamond. And right now, again, 4-1 through the last 10. Sunday's important, Saul. You nailed it. If you can win that game and you're at 5-1, man, you playing with some house money now. Now you can get frisky with it, and you start to wonder how high you can go up in that standing.
Not only that, you're talking about the Pelicans specifically. You will be basically 3 games ahead of them if you beat them on Sunday, which puts you basically in the driver's seat. You basically got to fall on your face down the stretch to fumble that bag. And then you're looking at teams like the Clippers and the Mavs as your possible 4 or 5 matchup. I like the 6th spot right now.
Me too. Me too.
I don't want to.
Can we just hang here?
I don't want to play the Clippers because I'm tired of playing the Clippers.
Yeah.
Do I think we could beat the Clippers? Yes. But I'm tired of playing the Clippers.
But also the Clippers still have
I don't really want to play the Mavs right now
No.
because they are hot.
Yeah.
And I just
I don't want no part of the Mavs, though, and that's not punking out. That's just being smart. Work smarter, not harder.
Facts.
There's no way you want to go into a first-round series against Luka Doncic and Kyrie.
Let the Nuggets worry about the Mavs.
Right.
Flex, you said it either bursts pipes or it creates diamonds.
Yeah.
They didn't have any pipes left to burst with all the crap they had to flush earlier in the year, right? I think there's been some galvanizing force here where you are seeing, and we heard Bradley Beal talk about it in pregame, how their attitude, their body language, all these things are different, in particular from the big three, and I think it's becoming contagious through the entire group. And they're playing as one cohesive unit right now, and that should be scary to other teams in the West.
Yeah.
So Flex and I were looking at the Western Conference standings before the game, which they're pretty much the same, I think, except for a couple
Just some
movements as far as like
separation,
game bags. Yeah. And I think we're kind of in agreement that we're going in order of what the standings are currently as far as teams we would not mind facing in the playoffs, right? So the
Agreed.
Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Clippers, and then the Mavs. I think maybe you could flip-flop Thunder and Clippers there depending on the day, because both of them have,
can see
have
that.
reasons.
I can see
You know what I
that.
mean?
I'd rather have the Clippers over the Thunder.
Yeah.
Because the Clippers have some injury concerns. They internal. They still got James Harden, who we've seen disappear in the playoffs at times. I know I'm probably in the minority, but OKC I don't want anything to do with because of their style of play.
Yeah.
I don't like that matchup. I'd much rather have a Clippers matchup than I would an OKC matchup. Now, I'll take Minnesota, and you know what? I probably make people uncomfortable. Denver I think I'd rather have over OKC.
I was going to
Denver.
ask that tough question.
Yeah.
We're built well for Denver, though.
If you could sign up right now, Denver or OKC? For real, it's a crazy question, but you gotta think about it. I
don't know. Let's ask the chat.
Look,
Yeah.
Let's ask the
Put a
chat.
poll.
We're going to put a poll in the chat. Denver or OKC right now if you had to pick.
Oh, man. You know what? No, I'm still going to go OKC on that one.
I agree with you.
I'm gonna go with OKC.
I probably lean that way too, but I also look at it and go, you're probably gonna have to beat the Nuggets one way or another.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I'd like everybody else to get a shot to beat the Nuggets
Before us.
I mean that's fair too. I mean that's a fair assessment.
To Saul's point too, I think this is why the sweet spot is 6, and I'm going to tell you why. If you look at the top 3 like you showed, you got Minnesota, Denver, and OKC. If you sit at 6, you're almost guaranteed to have to play 2 of them before the conference finals. Now, how the 2 shake out is how it's going to shake out. But if you told me right now, I'm being 100% honest, if you told me right now your path to the Western Conference Finals is the Minnesota Timberwolves and potentially OKC, there's no way on God's green earth I deny that. I sign up for that all day.
All day, every day.
And if you can't beat OKC, then that's on you, right?
Honestly, if OKC's 2 and you say the Lakers, who've been hot, wind up winning and playing and wind up in that
Saul mentioned that
7
earlier.
spot, right? You were talking about this.
Yep.
I mean, LA could take care of OKC in that first round too. I mean, I think it's an interesting. It's going to be a lot of chess over the next few weeks. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But Triple B brings up a good point in the chat. Said, but the question is, who wants to play the Suns?
There you go.
Oh, listen. I don't think anybody is looking at the Suns right now as like, oh, yeah, sign me up for that team.
Right.
Yeah. I will say that. I think every team has a little bit of apprehension of facing something that they don't quite know.
Exactly.
That's the scary part. Even the Suns don't know.
Same.
You're right.
We're right there with you
They're
guys.
figuring it out right now in this last 4 out of 5 wins, but it's still semi-unpredictable. And, if I was a coach, I'm like, no, I don't want to have to game plan for something I don't really understand.
Well,
and 3 guys that could go off at any moment too. It's like, again, we talked about it early on. It's pick your poison in that potentially too. So it's got to be. I think the Suns will make a lot of teams uncomfortable considering a first-round matchup.
They might be the boogeyman right now in the Western Conference. There's teams right now that, to all of y'all point, they're sitting down and they're saying, shit, we know who Kevin, Devin, and Brad are, but we don't know what this iteration, like, did we just wake up a sleeping giant? did we just poke that bear that was sitting there quietly and was minding his business, and now he woke up ready to kick some ass? Like, that's a scary dynamic. I'm going to admit to the fact that I don't want Dallas because I respect Luka and Kyrie. That's a sleeping giant, too, I think. Them boys get hot. They can beat anybody. I question if there's a lot of other teams thinking the same thing. Kevin, Devin, and Brad, I don't know if I want that smoke.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Alfredo sent us a super chat. Thank you so much. They said, good win. I'm happy with the last few minutes of the game. I was going to donate/super chat the margin of victory. I was worried when it was 24. Just kidding. Hope the good Suns stay around longer. This is fun.
It is fun.
Yes.
It is. Honestly, like, I think that's probably what has been the most difficult part of this season. Is if it was fun, it would have been easier to deal with kind of the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Like if we had fun moments. But it didn't feel like really any of it was that fun. There were small glimpses, like the Timberwolves game, the first time around was a blast. Like you could point out like maybe 5 to 10 like really fun moments, but as a whole, I would not categorize the season as fun by any means.
I think what Suns fans, and I will give them credit, they know basketball because they've seen good basketball over the last 5-6 decades of this team's existence. That's what we want. We just want good basketball. If they lose, they lose, but we want good basketball. We want smart basketball. We want guys that are out there giving effort and understanding, the limitations of their own skill sets in order to make everybody else thrive, right? Mm-hmm. And we didn't see that basically all season. It was just too up and down. They would have heaters, and then they have cold streaks, and then they'd have inconsistent games where they'd have a million turnovers, and then it would swing the other way. It was too erratic, and when it's too erratic, for the casual sports fan, Suns fan, and even the most diehard Suns fan, it is hard to pinpoint where the problems are when they're constantly changing every single game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just this. No, it's this. No, it's this. No, it's this. And because you can't figure it all out, you can't put it all – you can't be succinct with it.
Yeah.
So you kind of are left scrambling and hoping for the best, hoping that they know what they're doing, because we certainly don't.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think that's the most frustrating part of this season. Right now, you can kind of see where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
And this is probably the first time all season where you're like, okay, I see the picture. I see what this team can be. There's some things that they can tweak, but now I can see what those things are that they need to tweak and how that can make them better. I can live with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to your point, too, this town has become so accustomed to, outside of the non-playoff stretch, really pretty basketball. Like 7 seconds or less. Cotton Express, the 90s Barkley teams, where it was flashy, it was fast-paced, it was high-scoring. And I think sometimes this is going to be more surgical with these guys. It won't be that kind of basketball, and I think it leads to, oh, well, this isn't as exciting sometimes. And I think that might be just what they need, because they've never had a team that isn't
Who was
flashy.
it that said something along the lines of like, fun didn't work for us, so maybe it has to hurt for us to win, or something like that?
I've been hearing that a lot.
Somebody sent us a super chat. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was along the lines of like, we've had years and years and years of fun, and we don't have a championship. Maybe it's supposed to hurt.
Yeah, it's like we're in our 30s now as basketball fans. We had all that fun in the 20s. Now it's time to settle down.
I don't know.
I've heard that. I've heard that a lot from fans this year. Like, we've had the fun basketball, we've had the great stories, and then you flame out. And that's like the constant story of the Phoenix Suns history. This season has been so strange. Unlike any other year, in my lifetime, this has been the most erratic season I've ever seen. And you wonder sometimes, you're like, is this the team that will get it done? Is this the one that, you have those teams where you're like, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. I did not see that coming, but it happened. I wonder, because they're starting to get hot at the right time. It's like dating that girl you've dated for 7 months and she hasn't given you clear inclination that she likes you. And you're like, what the hell's going on? Do you like me or do you not like me? And then, like,
then you're about to break up with her.
Then
And then
exactly.
she's like,
I love
you.
you.
I really love you. You're like, wait, what?
Right. And then y'all get married and have 3 kids, and the shit ends great. This is what the Suns look like right now.
It's funny that we had Mike Bibby on in the pregame. And if you didn't see that, you should go check it out.
Go
all right?
check it out.
Because his national championship team,
Yeah.
very erratic all season long. They barely had over a 500 record in the league
Remember that
going
team.
into the tournament. They were a 5 seed. But what happened when they got to the tournament? The first 2 rounds were kind of rough against lower seeds, and then they got to Kansas, number 1. They beat them, and then they struggled a little bit against Providence overtime. They beat them, and then they beat number 1 North Carolina, and they beat number 1 Kentucky. That's kind of what this feels like if everything goes right. You know, we could be looking at what you're saying is like you're like, man, I don't understand where this team is going, what's happening, and then boom. They get on a heater.
Yeah. Charles in the chat said the process was tedious, but they did their homework, so now the fun is coming. Fingers crossed, Charles. All right, guys, before we get to some more super chats, here's what Kevin Durant had to say about the Suns' execution versus the NBA's #1 defense and the Suns keeping their composure with a lead.
I like that we were patient. I mean, we still turned the ball over 18 times. We still had 29 assists. I think that we had good intentions a lot. They're a tough team, long athletic team who can guard. You know, a lot of those guys on that team can guard multiple positions, so it's tough on you. But we stayed poised. You know, I think they cut it down to maybe 13, 14. They were hitting shots there, and we stayed the course. I think the last 2 games showed that we could stay poised when teams started to cut the lead on us. And tonight was one of those nights.
So I like the ending part of this video where he's talking about how they've proved that they can stay poised when the opponent starts to cut the lead a little bit.
They have been doing that.
They have a lot. In these last couple of games, we've seen a lot.
Well, and that's a lesson you got to learn because NBA teams, especially in the playoffs, you're not just going to go up 20 and it's going to stay like that, right? There's going to be that ebb and flow, that give and take. You're going to have to take a punch and then throw another one. They seem to be learning how to do that, you know, and being able to make it through those dry patches and then come back and swing again. And they're going to need that in every step of the way in the playoffs.
The word I keep using is awareness, focus, concentration. We've been talking a lot about that.
Yep.
I finally feel like they're aware in that situation. Hey, man, we're up 20. Don't get sloppy. Don't trip. Down 14, timeout, Frank. Like, I'm starting to see those little signs of awareness that, y'all not superheroes.
Yeah, and they slow it down. It's not the panic rush.
Correct.
And make a mistake. It seems like they start to play within themselves a little bit more when they get in those situations.
All right, here's what Frank Vogel had to say on whether he feels the Suns are peaking at the right time or not.
Yeah, I don't really feel like, we want to play our best basketball come playoff time, and right now, we really have to just focus on the next game. We played 3 great games, or 3 good games, I should say, and we want to continue to strive for greatness. So we're far from perfect, so we got to keep trying to get better.
Far from perfect is true. I mean, they obviously had. I mean, the second half shooting was trash. I mean, but you don't have to be perfect sometimes. You have to be good enough. They're good enough tonight.
I want to give Frank some credit, man. Like, what I'm seeing from Frank right now is a clear game plan versus some of these other teams that early in the year I just felt it wasn't there. Like, I saw an identity when they played the Pelicans and Zion. There were certain things they were doing to say, we're not going to let you bully us tonight. We're gonna do this. Same thing with Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. We're going to clamp you out. We're going to let the other guys do it. Tonight, the way that they focused on Anthony Edwards. So we hear about the genius of Frank Vogel. I haven't seen it all year. But the last 2-3 games, I'm starting to see some wrinkles that are making me feel like, okay, I can get behind that guy. Like, there's some things they're doing that I got to give them credit for.
Absolutely. All right, guys, before we look at a couple more super chats and before we bring in Gerald You know how this goes. You got to get those likes up if you want to hear
likes.
from Gerald. I do want to remind you that our friends over at Four Peaks have a brand new beer that they launched this year called the Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale. It is a collab between Four Peaks and Bad Birdie. It's super drinkable and the perfect companion at the tea box or in your fridge. And honestly, Four Peaks has some of the best beer you can get your hands on. No matter what kind of style of beer you're looking for, they have you covered. And in addition to good beer, they also have good vibes and good food at their Four Peaks pub down in Tempe. If you have not been yet, I highly recommend it. It's great for a night out, a casual lunch. Before it gets too hot, make sure you take in and enjoy their gorgeous patio they have out there. So check them out. You can follow them on social at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to get all the latest on Arizona's premier craft brewery. And you can also visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. You must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and we ask that you please drink responsibly.
Espo, I've really had some trouble sleeping of late. You know what I can do?
Have me come over and talk to you and bore you to death.
Cookie Monster till you fall asleep? Is that what I heard?
But really, though, what can I do?
I'll read you a book and then give you some OG.
There we go.
Right? It's OG's Gummy Madness season, and your 2024 Gummy Madness champion, the Sleep Edition Gummy.
No surprise.
Yeah, and now,
surprise.
Now you can get your Gummy Madness BOGO on as the deals all week until April 8th. So check it out. And then I want you to check out also OG's 2 new products made with live rosin, the ROS, and the OG's Naturals and the Big OGs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 2 newest products, and I tell you, the Big OG is probably my favorite. 100 milligrams. I don't know what I said
He
wrong.
said ROS, and I was like, damn, did they got a new gummy?
RSO. Sorry.
RSO.
It's the Rick Simpson oil.
That's
I
right, baby.
apologize.
The Rick Simpson
not the
oil.
Rick Oil Simpson. Totally different thing. But yeah, the Big OGs, 100 milligrams in 10 milligram slices. Don't think anything crazy. I love it. It's got a great flavor. It's fantastic. And to learn more about OG's gummies and where you can find them, head over to ogsbrands.com. Must be 21 plus to enjoy responsibly and take advantage of that BOGO offer on the sleep gummies.
All right, guys.
If you don't know what BOGO means, it means buy one, get one.
Hey-yo. A couple more super chats here. Actually, before we do super chats, we did complete the poll. Who would you rather have in the first round, Denver or OKC?
Ooh.
69% say Denver.
Nice.
Whoa, okay.
Again, don't yell at me. This is YouTube's math. 30% say OKC. Where that other 1% went, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But that's where we're at with that one.
It's crazy to think that that's where we're at, but most people, I agree. I think most people feel comfortable with that Denver matchup.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Well, this team in part was built to take them
Yes,
on. I
yes.
mean, with that thought, so.
All right, guys, don't forget to hit that like button for Gerald. He'll be joining us here shortly. Before we get to him, though, Alex sent us a super chat. Thank you, Alec. They said, not thrilled with Eubanks minutes over Thad.
You know what? I'm going to say this. Everybody's been real hard on Eubanks, man. They've been
He's been
brutal
taking
on
some
him.
L's.
I will also say this, man. Like, I get people don't like Eubanks minutes, and they thwart sometimes, and everything kind of comes to a halt and stuff. I get it. But damn, man, sometimes people are just vicious on social to the point where they're talking about, like, doing harmful shit. I'm like, you stop.
That's
you got to
crazy.
stop, man. That's wild.
You do got to be a little nicer.
Yeah.
I like that brass stick up for him in the podium today. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Look, Frank obviously is married to this. He's not changing his mind, which means he's probably not going to change his mind unless there's some kind of emergency. So buckle in, watch the Eubanks minutes, root for the guy because you're going to need him to play those quality 8 to 10 minutes as the backup to Nurk.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, next up we have a super chat from Thunder Stan. Thank you. They said, I got to say, as frustrating as I find Frank at times, we dominate defensive teams and a lot of playoff ball slows down.
Yep.
Good
Good signs.
Yeah, good signs.
Good
yep.
signs. Rome sent us one. What's up, Rome? Haven't seen you in the chat in a minute.
Damn, $50.
Rome sent us
go,
$50 and said, my dad and I were at the game tonight. He says, quote, big win against the Wolves. Bring on the Pelicans. We need that version of Nurk in the playoffs. I like the way we played. Got real messy at the end, but definitely got the job done.
Appreciate you, Rome.
Shout
that's
out
my
Rome.
Rome. That's Katie?
Yeah.
Rome and Gary. Great people. Pops, I love you, man. You my guy. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
That's
awesome
good stuff.
time. All right, Zach sent us one. Zach said, Diamondbacks
laugh about
died
it.
for the Suns and Yotes tonight.
Thank you,
You sound like
D-backs.
Funk Flex and Flex. And shout out to my boy on the west side. Yo, little
Hey, I
Goofy
had
boy.
flex with
Hey, I got
Jersey,
you.
baby. And I had to say flex with Jersey. The real flex would have got mad at me, man. He right over the water.
All right, James Johnson sent us one. Thank you, James. They said, Denver, ... 2 reasons, our beast and Murray injury, when we asked who we would rather see in the first round.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I get it. I get
dig
it.
it.
I like Nurk against the Nuggets. Brian sent us one. Thank you, Brian. They said they feel like the Cards team that went to the Super Bowl. Bad losses during the season. People counted them out, and they got hot at the right time.
That is an interesting. That is a hell of a.
But did they get absolutely mollywopped by like 50 on the road? Because that's what happened
Yeah,
to the
go
Cardinals.
look at the OKC game.
True. You know what though? Hold on, real.
Whopping.
They got their asses
I mean,
kicked
they did,
by
but they
OKC.
didn't lose by
You
like
know
40.
what? You know what though? You said something about the Arizona team, real quick. I'm sorry. I didn't want to forget this. That Arizona team that won the national championship. You said they had the same problems. That three-headed monster
Yeah.
of Jason Terry, Mike Bibby, and Miles
Well,
Simon.
it was Michael Dickerson, actually.
Michael Dickerson
Yeah.
and A.J. Bramlett, right?
Yeah.
So that team had massive talent.
Oh, yeah.
And when they got hot, boys, so it does have a little bit of a correlation, too.
For sure.
All right, next up, we've got one from, I already read Brian's, from Joe to C. They said, I don't know who this team is right now. Where has this team been this whole time?
Who cares?
I feel you.
Honestly,
I'm
I'd rather they show up late to the party than not at all, right?
Yeah.
So-
I mean, yeah, 100% of the time, but I also understand the desire to have had a little bit more of this throughout the season. You know
I
what I'm
get it.
saying?
Better late than never, though.
I
I'm
guess
with
so.
Are we?
All right. Michael sent us one. Thank you, Michael. They said, I'm looking forward to those Clipper games. We're going to slap them up. The Suns are starting to click, and Beal looks like he's starting to fit in.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
So it's been great.
Those Clipper games going to be fun.
All right, next up, we've got one from Leo. Thank you, Leo. They said, I think Flex can do a good impersonation of DJ Khaled. Can you give us a, quote, another one?
Another one. And you know what's funny? Yeah, listen. I'm going to say something. I was at Gerald's wedding, and they was talking about some DJ Khaled stuff because I had my shades. I'm not feeling that. French Montana?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Another one. I like it.
Okay.
I feel like it'd have to be you and I combined to look like DJ Khaled, though.
Yeah, that's
You'd
fair.
have to weigh what I weigh.
That's fair.
Why are these?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on
Why
here,
are these,
man.
why are these creeps right behind me?
They need the shoes. That's
I
why.
don't know what's going on.
All right, guys. I have really bad news.
Yeah.
So apparently, because we are on location out here at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, which, by the way, beautiful place. If you want to come hang out with us on Sunday, we're going to be having another watch party out here for the Suns game on Sunday. But because we're out here, how the system works is that only one person can be live at the same time at one time. And apparently Craig Morgan is live on the Coyote Show right now. He beat Gerald to the punch. So Gerald can't join us live.
Ahoy,
tonight.
No G money. It's okay.
Sorry. I know you guys gave us all the likes for Gerald, and we still appreciate those. Please let us
Damn.
keep them. But it's an unfortunate technical
Damn, Craig.
difficulty, and
your shit up.
you
Let me
should
tell
all
you.
tweet Craig and say, way to go, Craig. We didn't get Gerald today.
Wrap that up, Craig. Y'all getting like the 4th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
he's got all sorts of things to talk about, land and laws and,
He does.
and
he does.
auctions.
Here's
I mean,
the deal, though. What I can tell you is that we will be posting a solar flares on our YouTube page from Gerald from the arena. So if you do want to hear everything that Gerald has to share, or some of the things that Gerald has to share, obviously, just go take a peek at that. It'll probably be posted in, like, I don't know, an hour or something like that. It'll be on our social media as well. I'm sorry.
Fair.
But we did get one more super chat from Haas. They said, I hope we can isolate ourselves for the 6th seed. Denver go first with Mavs, Clippers in their same bracket.
I would love that.
Oh,
go.
baby. Sign me up.
Yes.
Love
All
it.
right. Well,
Well,
any final thoughts, you guys?
damn.
Darn,
Hey,
Gerald.
it was a good night. It was a good night for the Suns. They played. They locked down that defense. They did a great job tonight. It was a great night out here at Gila River. We had the whole. I mean, we had a crowd out here tonight.
Nice crowd. Beautiful crowd.
And then the cool thing too, by the way, I gotta say this. It was Espo shared a photo on Twitter. A group of us were locked in to that Iowa game as well, right in the middle of the Suns' second half starting. I mean, listen, man, women's basketball is fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. My guy Eric Ruby and Stephen Pridgeon are going to be covering the Mercury this year.
Nice.
Check them out. It's going to be phenomenal. So, hey, it was a good night overall. The vibes are high. And my boy Jake, I will see you tomorrow at our barbecue class all day, baby. Pitmaster. Let's go.
Oh,
look,
how exciting.
Don't tell me women's sports don't matter. Like that moment, I was sitting back there and I was watching from afar. I was eating while you guys were up there, and I was like, this
Nobody
is
cared about the Suns game in that moment.
This was a microcosm of how much attention this entire women's tournament has gotten, and it's well deserved. It is
well deserved.
I actually think that tournament's been more intriguing at times than the men's tournament.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Now it's too bad for Caitlin Clark. She's gonna get dog walked on freaking Monday by South Carolina. So
I'm gonna tell you something. That is must-watch TV. I mean, that's how far the women's game has come.
South Carolina's winning by 30.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. Dawn Staley. I mean, that's. But listen, I'm saying that's how far it's come.
Yeah.
The air came out this room when they called that foul on UConn. Like, you could see people migrating over. That's beautiful to see, man. They deserve it. It was great stuff. And shout out to everybody who came out. Come out Sunday. We here again Sunday, right?
Tomorrow and Sunday, you can come out, meet Mike Bibby, take a picture with him, whatever you guys want to do. Check out these cool shoes all over the place.
Yeah.
They got the Ray Allens. They got everything, man. It's just fantastic.
They've got the books. So if you want to see what they look like in person, if you haven't been able to yet, they've got the 2 colorways that have released and then the orange ones that came out as well. Okay, we got one more super chat that came through from Ranger Roy. Love that name. Said, I had my doubts of whatever was going on behind the scenes would go away, but it has for now. Any concerns for the playoffs and it coming back?
I don't think so.
No.
I think they know the recipe right now.
And plus, I think in the regular season, too, the same way that you can kind of tinker with your rotations and things of that nature, I think you can probably tinker with personalities within the locker room, maybe a pecking order. Just you work through those type of things, the same things that you would work through in any sort of competitive environment. And then come playoff times, I think you put that to the side and you just do what you got to do, basically.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you all for being here. We truly appreciate you guys. Once again, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. If you're listening wherever you get your podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us out, and we appreciate it. We will see you guys on Sunday with a pregame show and a postgame show. And until then, be sure to give the show a follow on social at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. And, of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
You don't have to go home, but you got to get the heck up out of here because casino security is really, really tough. Ahoy, hoy.
Peace.
We all silly like the man.